Good sunny afternoon here. My name is Murph, and welcome to Prog Monster, a site dedicated to progressive rock, heavy metal, hard rock, and other rock metal genres. Anyways, today we're here to do a top 10, my top 10 musical interest video, and this one is going to be on keyboards. I haven't always been a great keyboard fan. In fact, the guys on my list, the top three guys have been on my list almost since I was a teenager. And it hasn't been a lot of change in those three. I don't think there's been any change in the last 40, 45 years. There's been the next 7 or 8 guys pretty much either are on this list because of one particular album they did that really connected well with me, or they were somebody I had heard little bits of stuff here and there that I really liked, or they're new to the list, like they're new people that I've been listening to a lot lately. Pretty much that's the way it is. A few of them have been around, had quite a bit of stuff I've listened to, but they never quite reached the top. So anyways, I want to do the top 10, and we'll do it in the normal fashion, which is 10 from the lowest to the highest, my favorite. And then I'll give some honorable mentions. There was one honorable mention that I forgot to put on the board here, which I will just add when I get to them. I don't know why I forgot them. Seems like a no-brainer to me. Anyways, we'll start with number 10. Number 10 is a guy who I liked initially as a solo artist. Listened to him quite a bit. And then at the turn of the century, he joined one of my group of 7, became their main keyboardist. And I love his voice. I love his musical style. I love his flash and his flair. I love his keyboard ability, of course. And he's playing in one of my favorite bands, so it makes it easy to make a choice for him. And that's Lawrence Gowan, comes in at number 10 for Styx. Fantastic keyboardist, all the things I just said about him. I think he's underrated. I think he can handle the stuff in Styx fairly well too, the keyboard and the vocal related stuff. I think he's added a lot to them, and he has a range. Maybe he's not as good a singer as Dennis D. Young was, but he definitely has more of a range. He can do voices much wider range of voices than D. Young can. So there's my number 10, Lawrence Gowan on keyboards for Styx. Number 9 comes from a band that I love their 4 albums that I have. I've been still looking for a couple of other ones, but the 4 I have I love. His piano playing especially, and his voice, but mostly his piano playing, and that's Rick Davies of Rick Davies of the Supertramp. I don't know, I'm getting this Ray Davies thing in my head. Anyways, I love him quite a bit. I love the music of Supertramp, and I think the keyboards is a big thing with Supertramp, and he's the main clog in that. Okay, number 8 goes to another progressive rock band, a band that I've known of and listened to for 40 years, but never really got into them because of one particular album that they put out that I didn't really care for, and so I never pursued them until I found the other album that was famous by them at a yard sale one day, and I played that, and then they took off, and I've had a few more albums from them since. I think his keyboards are very good, and he's a solid backbone of this band, and that of course is Rick Wright of Pink Floyd. Number 7 is passed away, but is one of the backbones of this band, which came out in the 70s, early 70s. Actually, I think they were before that, maybe even the late 60s, but they didn't achieve much fame until they were in the 70s. And that's Alan Lanier of Blue Oyster Cult. I like his stuff quite a bit. Very good keyboardist. The new guy's pretty good too. Seen a interview with him not too long ago, but he's a fantastic keyboardist as well. But I just haven't had enough experience with him to know whether I like him enough to put him in my top 10 or even my honorable mentions yet. But Alan Lanier, I have no problem. He's my number 7 for today. Number 6, on the strength of one particular album, which is to me one of the best albums of all time, and he was the keyboardist on this, and his keyboardists were fantastic. I loved every part of the keyboards he did on this album. The album was Rainbow Rising, and of course we're talking about Tony Carey. I seem to be screwing up names today. Anyways, Tony Carey, great keyboardist. I love his style. Fantastic guy. Wished he could have done more with Rainbow. It just didn't work out. Number 5 is new to the list on the strength of one particular album, although I've listened to some of the other stuff as well. But I really like this one album a lot. It's been one of my favorite albums in the last decade or so, and that's A Tab in the Ocean from Nectar, and this is Alan Taft Friedman in the number 5 spot. On the strength of that one album, he's moved up. My keyboards tend to be the bit of the weakest part of my musical interest. I just haven't been as interested in them as the guitarists and the bassists and the drummers and the vocalists, but the guys I do like have had a huge impact on me, though. Number 4, based on his time in Yes and his time in another band called Main Horse, which is an album I've listened to a lot recently. I'm talking about Patrick Moraz. This guy is just fantastic. I think he's very underrated. Should get a lot more kudos for his abilities. Number 3, of course, we go back to Styx here, and we're talking about Dennis DeYoung now. Fantastic keyboardist, great vocalist, magical songwriter. I mean, the list of accolades to this guy goes on and on. Maybe one of the he's one of my favorite. He's number 3, so he's one of my favorite keyboardists of all time. Just some real eerie melodies and some emotional stuff that he put together, and he's just great. Like, I love all of the stuff that he does. Number 2, same thing. Been number 2 for a very long time. I think he's underrated as a keyboardist and the backbone of this band, I think, musically, and that's Tony Banks from Genesis. He has done some fantastic stuff on some of their especially their earlier albums. Like, he just is way up there and just should get more accolades for being a top keyboardist. Okay, so number 1 has been number 1. It probably will be number 1 for eternity. It's not even close, really. He just is like so much better. I think he's so much better and so much more my favorite, and has been involved in so many memorable songs from not just the main band that he was in, but some of his own solo stuff. And he's done some backup work for other people as well, including Black Sabbath. Just a fantastic keyboardist. It's not enough can be said, and he plays like them all: organ, harpsichord, mellotron, all of the main piano, grand piano, organ, pipe organ, piano. Like, he just plays them all so well. And of course, we're talking about Yes's Rick Wakeman. There's just nobody better than him, so far as I'm concerned. I know some people are going to have some arguments with me here, but you got to remember, this is my favorite stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean I think these guys are the best 10 keyboardists of all time. There's a lot of keyboardists out there who are ranked much higher than some of the guys I put on the list, but these are the guys who've had the impact on me. And so for my number 1, again, it's Rick Wakeman. The guy, not only is he a great keyboardist, he also is funny as hell too. I love him. So top 10 over again: Rick Wakeman, number 1; Tony Banks, number 2; Dennis DeYoung, number 3; Patrick Moraz, number 4; Alan Taft Freeman, number 5; Tony Carey, number 6; Alan Lanier, number 7; Rick Wright, number 8. Number 9 is Rick Davies of the Supertramp, and number 10 is Lawrence Gowan. Okay, so some of the people I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget, some guys who just, I don't think that they necessarily are not in my top 10, for a reason. A lot of it is because I just haven't heard enough stuff by them, or they just haven't had as much of an impact. That's all it is. Jeff Downs, the other Yes keyboardist that I didn't mention so far, could have easily been on this list. I really like the stuff he did, not only with Yes, but with Asia, and even the Bugle stuff wasn't too bad. And now he's in the band again. Although the album hasn't been that great, still trying to warm up to it. Roger Hudson, Vangelis, of course, with his Friends of Mr. Cairo and the other album that he did with John Anderson. Very good keyboardist. Just a very unique style in keyboarding as well. And then, of course, how can you not mention Keith Emerson? Many consider him to be the greatest keyboardist of all time. There's an argument to be made from him. I'm just not a huge fan of ELP. That may change. I'm going to give ELP another chance in the next little while. I've been buying up stuff, and there's on the list of stuff to buy up. I have listened to some of their stuff, but I just never got into them. It's hard to get into a band without a guitar player for me. Even though Greg Lake plays guitar, it's just not dominating with this group. John Evan of Jethro Tull, I like him quite a bit. Tony Kaye, the last Yes keyboardist. I mean, there's also Oliver Wakeman as well. Christine McVie of Fleetwood Mac, honorable mention to her. John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin, there's some really neat keyboard stuff that he does as well. The other guy that I forgot to put on the list, and I don't know how I missed putting him on the list, but he needs to be on this list, and that's John Lord, the late John Lord of Deep Purple and Whitesnake. I never really liked the type of keyboards he played. His abilities were never in question for me, but for some reason I didn't really get too uppity on the keyboards that he played. I'm not really sure what. There's just something about him that doesn't sound right to me. But his abilities are never in question. The guy can play anything. Anyways, that's it for my top 10 favorite keyboardists of all time. So if you have a top 10 that doesn't match this one, and I'm sure you do, please leave your list. I'd like to hear it. There may be some keyboardists on that list that I've never listened to before. It might interest me to join in. There's a few new keyboardists that I've been listening to too, but I just haven't listened to them enough to give them any kind of a ranking. So there you have it, my top 10 keyboardists of all time. So later this week I'm going to be doing a couple of look back albums, and then a new set list for me will be including live albums, and that'll be under a new title. The title's in the thing, I just can't remember it offhand right now. And so I'm going to be starting out with one of the classic all-time greatest live albums, and that's going to be from The Who, Live at Leeds. And I want to do a little bit of research into this, because I know that the album I have has tracks that weren't on the original, and I just want to know what they are, so I'll be looking into that. So that'll come out later in the week as well. So if you like this video today, please like in the list below, and subscribe if you want me to do more material, or if you have ideas that you would like to see me try or do. I'm open to that as well. That would be great. Anyways, I want to wish you all a great day, and from Prog Monster, out.